We're live.
Welcome to the City of Eureka Springs Bozeman Planning Commission meeting, Tuesday, July the 13th, 2021. Mickey, if you'll do a roll call, please.
Tom Buford.
Here.
Jody Breedlove.
Here.
Melissa Green. Here. Ferguson Stewart.
Here.
Ann Sally.
Here.
And me, I'm here, Mickey Schneider.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have three different approval of meeting minutes tonight to do. The first one is May the 25th. Has everybody had a chance to look at that?
I make a motion that we approve the May 25th special meeting minutes.
Second.
All those approve? Aye.
Aye.
Now we need to approve the special meeting minutes of
Right, June 8th.
No.
June the 8th.
I make a motion that we approve the June 8th regular meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now if I can get a motion to approve the meeting of June the 15th.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of June 15th special meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we don't have anything on the Board of Zoning Adjustment. On down to the Planning Commission. A motion to approve the agenda. Does anyone have anything they want to add to it? Melissa?
Just a discussion of when we're going to schedule a workshop on the parking.
Okay. Second on that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public comments.
I'm Laura Covington. I'm almost a local. I've been here almost 40 years, and I've lived almost 20 years on Oak Ridge Drive. I'm here in regards to the Airbnbs that are being put in our neighborhood. The streets on East Mountain consist of Harvey, Oak Ridge, Charles, Huckleberry, Cedar, Tower, and Wood. Every single street that I mentioned is a dead-end street. This is a pleasant neighborhood with mainly an older population. We're all pretty much acquainted, tons of dog walkers. And we're asking you to keep our neighborhood free of Airbnbs and free of free housing, which is happening next door on my street, next door to Melinda Large. There are 3 homes in question on Oak Ridge that want Airbnbs. They may not have applied yet, but the neighborhood is a frenzy. The owners are the ones that have asked us if we would mind or care or be indifferent if there was an Airbnb, and we've all said that we are not for this. So we're in need of help. We need you to help us keep this small neighborhood from becoming a commercial nightmare. And it's already begun. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Melinda Large. I'm a resident of Eureka Springs, business owner in Burrillville, but I am a resident of Oak Ridge Drive, and I am concerned with the growing amount of so-called enhanced rental, Airbnb. At this point, we have a rental that was purchased, a home that was purchased, 120 Oak Ridge. It was purchased. The original intent was to be flipped. The owner then had financial distress. This is all from secondhand. Now the home is resident to musical vagrants. I do not know if there is rent paid. I just know there are vans, there are dogs, there are people at all times of night coming to a dead-end street. They are musicians, we believe, since at 2 yesterday morning they were playing drums in the neighborhood. My concern is that as we have people that come in that do not know that this residential community presides mostly of individuals that are single women, number one. Number two, these communities of single women are over the age of 60. And to have people that are not invested in this community but invested for a weekend would be a nightmare of what I'm living with next door at 120 Oak Ridge. I hope you can do something to help us. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Steve Beecham. I'm a resident of Eureka Springs. I'm here to discuss the Airbnbs that are going on in town as well, and the erosion of residential neighborhoods. The neighborhood in question, the Oak Ridge area, is a pristine residential neighborhood, and as far as I've seen, the house in question went to great lengths to hide the fact they were Airbnb. They, all the photographs that they have on their site don't show the front of the house or the neighborhood. It's just the interiors, shots of the house. Also, I think they are renting it for 30 days at a time, which I think that probably puts it outside the range of short-term rentals. However, they're using a tourist-related rental site, Airbnb, to advertise their location. I don't know if they're a business and collecting taxes, paying taxes to the city, but it's just a shame to see residential neighborhoods with this encroachment. I would also like to point out that if this particular house is successful in what it's doing, most second homes in Eureka could basically follow the same format, and we're losing population. Our city limits haven't grown. We're just, I really know that y'all try your best to focus on preserving the town as it is and trying to preserve residential neighborhoods, but this is kind of a serious issue that's going on right now, and I hope that you can figure out some way to help solve the problem.
Hi, I'm Susan Brashears. My husband and I, Doug, have Brashears Furniture over in Berryville. We've lived in Cedar Lane in Eureka for over 30 years at our residence. Live next door to Janet and Charles Epley, long-term residents. We've chosen to live in that neighborhood because it is a community. It's quiet. We love it there. We're concerned by allowing Airbnbs that it will change the feel of the neighborhood. As Laura was saying, a lot of people walk dogs, we're out on the streets. The people just don't know. They come in late at night, the cars go fast. We all go 15 miles an hour. They don't. It just changes the value of our homes. And I will tell you that my husband and I were going to do a major remodel, and it feels different. Do we want to invest in that neighborhood? And I just don't want others in Eureka to feel that way, that we're moving out of the area because our residents, our neighborhood is changing. So I'd like you to help protect the value of my home and my neighbors' homes. Thank you.
My name is Anna Lux. My family moved here in the early 1970s. I went to Eureka Springs High School. I've lived here for about 10 years. I live in the East Mountain area on Harvey Drive. Our neighborhoods are held together by a sense of connection, engagement, and support that has been there for all of us throughout the pandemic. Sitting on our front porches and watching our neighbors walk by, waving hello at a distance, has certainly held me and my long-term partner together, checking on our neighbors, most of whom are elderly and walk their dogs every day like we do, has been a great sense of connection and support. When an Airbnb was introduced into our neighborhood, we noticed a drastic difference in the quality and connection from that home. The property I'm talking about is 3 Huckleberry. When a conditional use permit was applied for and was denied, well, when it was applied for, many of us wrote letters. We were concerned. There was a denial. The Airbnb listing proceeded anyway. We have noticed garbage being left out unattended on our daily walks. We have noticed renters speeding through our community. I was almost hit by one while walking my dog. The renters have had no interest in the connection or care of our community, and we would like that to stop. They want to go to their rental and want to be left alone. We ask for the city's support in maintaining the peace and tranquility in our residential neighborhoods so that we can continue to support each other and enjoy our peaceful community. Thank you.
What was the question?
No, I just had a question. Is that appropriate or not?
Come up to the mic.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I guess one of the questions that we had together was, how can we help? And so if there's something, that we can do, through an attorney or something that needs done that would help you all, we are open to that as well.
Kylie, can I respond to that?
Yeah.
I can tell you, if you all have a covenant, that is something that we as a planning commission can't recognize when we make our decision. We have been through this before. But you all certainly have the right to contact legal counsel on that. I'm guessing that the people that bought this house fall under the same covenant that you do?
They do.
And that unfortunately, that has to be outside of the planning commission, but it is certainly something that you all can look into.
Is that suggested? I mean, should we just move forward instead of waiting for, we should move forward with an attorney?
I don't think we can
Why don't,
recommend what you do.
why don't,
I'm just telling you, we can't deal with the covenant.
why don't we'll discuss this, you're number 2 on the agenda, and then we can talk.
I'd like to thank you guys for your input, though,
Yeah.
because it's very
Yeah.
important that we hear your voices and
Yep.
hear what's
Number 2
going
on the agenda.
on.
Let's wait a minute.
No, I want to ask now.
Okay.
This kind of came up before. I thought Airbnbs did not have to apply for a permit like a bed and breakfast.
Okay, it's number 2 on the agenda.
Yeah, let's-
Let's go to number 1 and get the lady taken care of, and then we can move forward.
Okay, well, I figured that would be, yes, they do, or no, they don't apply.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay.
Thank you all. I hope you'll hang around for just a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, under new business, we have new commercial construction review at 4036 East Van Buren.
Wait, Kylie's.
Yeah, okay.
Yes?
We have a written comment?
Oh, I'm sorry, we do have one. I should read this. Dear Eureka Springs Planning Commission, I am sorry for not being able to attend tonight's meeting. Thank you for the opportunity to address my concerns in this manner. My house is at 4 Huckleberry Lane. The owners of 3 Huckleberry Lane have ignored the city's November denial of a conditional use permit to operate as a tourist lodging and have begun operating as a tourist lodging through Airbnb and Yahoo. I would like the assistance of the city to enforce the denial for 3 Huckleberry Lane to operate as a tourist lodging and take actions necessary to keep our neighborhood a safe and quiet residential zone. Leases should be long-term, not 1 month or less. I learned about the 3 Huckleberry Lane's owner's attempt and subsequent denial to get a conditional use permit after the fact. Before the hearing, the owners were visiting neighbors hoping to get neighborhood approval. When visiting my tenant, Sarah Larson, the owners told her that they had already contacted me about the request for the variance. This was untrue. The owners of 3 Huckleberry Lane have never contacted me about anything. It appears to be one of the many deceptive statements by these owners to the neighbors and neighboring property owners. If I had known, I would also have voiced my concerns with the rest of my neighbors at that time. There was a more recent neighborhood petition that describes the unit being offered as a tourist lodging through Airbnb and Facebook. This petition restates the desire to deny the activity and to enforce the judge's decision. I was out of the country at the time, so I could not sign that petition, but I would like to be on record that I also agree with the concerns stated in that petition. I will be moving back in my 4 Huckleberry Lane home very soon and hope that the Commission is able to find a way to prevent this type of activity going forward. I would like to avoid the unneighborly and disruptive activities that Sarah has been reporting to me about the Airbnb guests staying next door. Thank you for your time and consideration. Marvin Eugene Jean Pierce. Okay. New commercial construction review at 4036 East Van Buren for 124 square foot addition. Motion to discuss.
Make a motion that we discuss?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Tom?
I've reviewed the application. It's very well done. I did drive out and look at the site, and they do have plenty of parking out there, and which is unusual for something coming for us as far as commercial use. And I found nothing wrong with the application, and or somebody has some comment, I would make a motion to approve it.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes, great work. It's
Yeah.
been an eyesore, and I'm just glad to see this happening. It's wonderful.
Thank you. 5 ayes.
Okay, is that all I need to do? Well, thank you so much. Where do I do that?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, now we will move on to our second agenda item, which is discussion of tourist lodging in R1 and R2.
Motion to discuss tourist lodging.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I want to discuss, these are my neighbors, by the way. I live in your neighborhood. I'm at 7 Harvey Road. So I understand, this is exactly what I was worried about months ago, and I brought this to the Planning Commission about the speeding in our neighborhood and the concern I had in our neighborhood about unlicensed tourist lodging going on. And I hear it. I'm literally, I have cars racing by my window. I don't know what speed they're doing. All I know is that it's very loud at 2 o'clock in the morning. And this never happened before. This has only been going on for the last year, maybe. And so, and we've got valuable members of the community living in this neighborhood. I mean, this is a neighborhood that is like you said. I mean, it was described perfectly. It's dog walkers. It's friendly. It's kind. Everybody knows each other. And all of a sudden, overnight, it seems like it has changed. I've talked to the neighbors. I've talked to people, and I said they point to the house and they go, "It's that one. It's that one." And I go, I'm not enforcement. I'm not law enforcement. So it's frustrating to me being on this planning commission and the zoning board knowing that they're violating city ordinances. And the cops have been down a couple of times, but they have done nothing. So I'm with you. I'm frustrated. And so keep it up.
Move your mic back.
Mickey, you had a question earlier.
Yeah, and keeping in mind I'm new on here, I thought it came out that they do not apply for a permit like a B&B or other lodging does, that people who do Airbnb, they are just doing it because Airbnb is basically an advertising tool, not a licensing or permit tool.
Mickey, the word Airbnb has kind of become the new catchword for tourist lodging.
Well,
And
yeah.
everybody uses it, but no, it's tourist lodging, and you have to get a CUP.
Okay, so I thought when we talked about this the last time, it was said if somebody is merely doing an Airbnb, not on a regular type lodging, I thought it was said we couldn't do anything.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. They by law, unless they're in R2, they can apply for a conditional use permit. In R1, they cannot have.
Apply is my point.
Yes,
They
they have.
did apply, and they were denied.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad that's clear, because I thought last time it was said if they're just doing Airbnb, we can't do it because that's not a normal type lodging that we have in our books. Do we,
Airbnb is just a advertising mechanism.
okay,
Like
so
the
they are just,
RBO.
okay.
In my opinion, it's a tourist lodging, and it's an illegal tourist
Well,
lodging.
and that's what I'm saying. So anybody who is doing or advertising on Airbnb, can we send legal people after them if we find their ad on these websites?
Yes.
We have, and we're still waiting on an opinion from the attorney. There's a few things that I'm going to do, make some phone calls tomorrow, but, I live in R1. And R1, we haven't had, well, that doesn't mean we haven't had people try to come in, but we haven't granted new tourist lodging in R1 in 20 years. I would like to see the same protection for R2.
I'm agreed. I considered that, and I've seen what's been coming through, and we do have to protect the people who've lived here and live here, and we are losing our sense of neighborhoods, and it's out of control. Every single month, we have more and more applicants who want to come in and take what was a residence away and use that as an Airbnb, and I understand that there's money to be made there, but people need to live here too, so I 100% agree with that statement. It's time to stop doing that.
Well, number one, I agree with Ann. It comes down to the spirit of the law, and they know what they're doing. And I feel like they are running, and they're trying to get around it. And I'm going to be honest, about 10 years ago, we had the weekly. Steve can remember that, and I was part of it, I will admit it. And it at the time, I thought, I can do this, it's right. It really wasn't right. It broke the spirit of the law because, I was in R2, but in R1, and that doesn't make me any less culpable, but in R1, they abolished tourist lodging in 2001 to protect the neighborhoods and left the bed and breakfast in there that you could get a CUP because that was a home-based business. There was someone living there controlling things. And it was, the town was booming then. It was just booming. So people wanted a house that would pay for themselves. And what they were doing is taking away housing from people that wanted to buy or people that wanted to rent. And that's what's happening, I believe, with R2, is there's no more of it. You can't find any of it in the historic district. So let's branch out and go into the next neighborhoods. And I think that the neighborhoods need to be protected. I have lodging. My lodging is commercial, and that's fine. I mean, anybody that wants to buy commercial property can do what they want as long as it fits the codes. And the town is 27% commercial property, so there's plenty of it out there.
Tom?
Steve mentioned the population going down. I noticed in the Starkville district in the last year or two, a lot of people buying second homes in the Starkville district, and they're not there that much. And that just takes some more housing stock, out of the city that you don't have somebody there, full time.
One thing, Tom, that I have seen, yes, there are second homes being bought, but it's becoming kind of a 3-to-1 ratio. People are actually moving here. They're begging to buy houses here. And as you all know, a house in your neighborhood goes on the market. How long does it last? 2 days, 3 days? And people want to live here. Yes.
As a prime example,
Could you come up to the microphone, please?
Yeah.
as a prime example of what you're talking about, on Oak Ridge, yes, there are homes that as soon as the word goes out, it gets snapped up. However, we have an interesting scenario at my end of the block. We have a home that has been sitting there for over 6 months. It's been reduced. What does it sit next to? The house with the vagrants.
Right.
Across the street is an RV that one of our illustrious residents has decided to put in the neighborhood. So when these people purchase a home for $250,000, they get to wake up and sit on their outside porch and look at an RV or hippie garbage. This is the option you get. Now, the houses are going so fast. How can a house sit this long? Could be other issues, yes. But visually, it's a beautiful lookout. Anybody been in our neighborhood? So I hear what you're saying on people gobble, but this is what happens when you have renters with no vestment in that.
Are the people that you're talking about, do you know if they're renting rooms?
We don't know. We
Okay.
understood that the owner has a posting or a blog, a vlog, where musicians that are traveling can just sign up, and if they need a place to stay, this is where they can come.
Do you know where that blog is? Could you get it for us?
I'll look into it, yes.
Yeah, and send it to the Kylie and the
Okay.
chair. And the chair.
So we don't know if they're renting, but it changes daily.
What, in R2, which you are residential 2, there is a conditional use permit for boarding houses. And if they are doing that, that's a boarding house. And to my knowledge, they do not have a CUP, a conditional use permit. They have no license to do that. So, get us the blog and we'll see what we can do.
Okay. I think I had contacted Ann and gave her the name of the owner. So she does have that owner who purchased that home,
Okay.
who is responsible for that blog. So that should be easy to find out from that standpoint.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you. Well, what do you guys think about a moratorium? I'm going to make a motion that we ask the city council to pass a 6-month moratorium on tourist lodging in R2 and R3.
What kind of moratorium?
They can't get a CUP. Oh, okay. I will. That no new CUPs may be applied for or granted. Any existing CUPs that are going to be transferred or grandfathered would not be applicable to this.
Okay, that's better.
I would second that.
So
We have a motion.
we would, a little discussion before we vote on this. So what you're saying is put a moratorium on it for 6 months and no one can apply. And then after the 6 months, we go back to city council with the recommendation to either change the language or request that we do like R1 and it's not allowed anymore.
Yes, we definitely can do that. I think in the 6 months, I think, Steve, come on up.
The sort of subterfuge that's going on with these people is they're renting it out 30 days at a time. I think lodging is considered short-term if it's
Right.
under 30 days.
Right.
I don't know what your wording would have to be to count this particular
I think we're going to,
Airbnb.
I think we're going to really have to look at this, Steve, because it comes down to, and you were on planning with this, that saying, the spirit of the law. And that's kind of where the weeklies came in. It eventually, it wasn't the spirit of the law.
Well, and I also don't know if you can rent it for 30 days and give them a 2-week refund,
Oh.
I mean, there just may be, it seems
Yeah.
to me like they're trying their very best to slip this in under the
Right,
radar.
right.
So how you as a commission deal with this, I don't know. but
Right.
it's-
When-
I do know that the wording of lodging is, short-term is considered under 30 days.
And
But the boarding house would cover it.
Yeah, but they need a
wouldn't cover the
CUP.
Yeah.
If it would, or the fact that they're advertising on
Right.
Yeah.
When-
on a tourist lodging site, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not the legal person, but
Yeah. Now, just
I
add
do-
the boarding house term along with the rest of it, Melissa.
Yeah, I will. Okay, just a second, 1 minute. Just wanted, Steve, when the weeklies were going on, and Tim Weaver, they were working on it, they told us what we could and couldn't do. And one of the things, and this is with that monthly, if I rented it for a week, that person had it for the week. They could take off and come back on Thursday. And basically, I think what you people need to watch and document are people staying there a month, or if they leave after 2 weeks, do they come back, or does someone else come in? If that's the case, then they are operating absolutely illegally. The rest of it, we're kind of waiting on the municipal league's ruling on it, but to me, it's against the spirit of the law.
Well, the other thing seems to be tax collection.
Right.
If they're collecting, I mean, I know Airbnb collects taxes when they
Right.
rent it out. Are they paying the state taxes? I mean, do they have a city license to operate this?
Yeah, so
It seems to me there's
I have
this-
one, and yes, everything is applied and everything is paid, so,
So,
and you have a business
so the
permit.
question is, do they? I
Yes,
mean,
they do,
that's-
yes, it's all part of it, so
Right.
it's really convenient for people to use, but it is used exclusively for
Right.
people, I have a cup, it's used exclusively for people who are doing short-term lodging. You know, if
Okay.
people want a weekly or a bi-weekly rental, there's hotels that do that.
Yeah.
You know, we don't need to be using homes for that.
Well, exactly, and I just feel like this is sort of a slippery slope, and I think the problem with people with second homes is if they see this as being a successful gambit to help make money renting out their homes, believe me, they'll do it.
Right.
And so it may not just be, that part of town, it may be all over town where we have residential
It
neighborhoods.
is, and there's illegal ones in R1. Laura, you had a question, can you come up to the mic, and another one of you too?
Well, if you have already denied them, then what is the outcome if they continue? I mean,
Well, we denied them tourist lodging, and so they are renting by the month, and it's,
right, a
are they
slippery
really?
slope. And
are-
so now say you just hypothetical, and so you deny them again, what is the outcome of, do you guys send the police to send a
Yes.
letter?
The planning commission, or Ann as the chair, and Kylie would send a letter. The fines are $150 a day each day you keep in operation, and it's maybe time.
Okay, what's the
Yeah.
outcome? Thanks.
Anna, you had a question?
So I wanted to clarify for the record, and to echo some of what Steve said and Laura said, that the property, 3 Huckleberry, applied for conditional use permit, I believe in October, was denied, is operating with a listing on Airbnb that now says that it's 30 days or less. It did not say that a few weeks ago. And there is also a listing on Facebook. It is advertised as Whitetail Retreat. The listing on Airbnb does not disclose the address of the property, and the pictures have been masterfully hid, so one cannot tell where the property is located unless one lives in the neighborhood or looks at the pictures, in which you can see the carport of Argene Pierce, whose letter Ann read into the record. So the concern is around our taxes being collected, CAPC taxes by Airbnb, sales and use taxes and so on, and then being submitted. It appears that this is still an unlicensed tourist lodging business that is advertising over the internet, and I wanted to bring that into record.
I think when Airbnb started out, there was a big problem about taxes, and so their answer was to just take all the taxes and then pay Eureka Springs. And I think it really leaves the door open, because I personally want to be responsible for the taxes I collect. But I think that it leaves it open, because how do you know if they're collecting taxes? You know, and it's a boom for the city if they're collecting taxes and they don't have a license. Of course, we get the money, but it's not right. So I think that was a lot of Airbnbs way around, because they were really in a lot of trouble. There were a lot of lawsuits. So they came up with a way, and I think Airbnb is trying to be honest and doing the best they can, but I just think we need, probably a moratorium. We need some public hearings, and we need to come up with some strong laws for it, if this is what the public wants.
And we are still seeing cars rotating in the neighborhood through the property, despite it being a 30-day. And I know of 2 people specifically in Eureka who work in the tourism industry who are currently homeless and living in their cars. Having affordable housing or some type of housing, even a roommate situation, would be ideal. We would welcome and support anyone in the neighborhood who would like to live in a residence. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna amend my motion.
Wait just a second, Mickey West, there's a
Still in
question.
discussion.
Okay.
I would highly suggest that all of you, excuse me, in that area, allergies, believe it or not, still with the trees, that you start keeping a very detailed list of cars, the kind of car, the license plate, if you happen to see the people, do a daily record, like with a calendar or something, so they can see how often this is turning over. If you keep ending up with like 50,000 cars from everywhere but Arkansas, you pretty much have made your case to any judge in the country. But seriously, this would help a lot. They can't disregard either the owners or any legalities. They can't disregard the proof of who and what has been there, meaning the cars, the plates, the people, that kind of thing, and especially if you can do it daily. So I would highly suggest start to do that. Keep a record, everybody. The more records you have that all match, the more obvious it is who's telling the truth.
Well, I'll just add to that Whitetail Retreat, I'm going to go home and I'm going to look this up, because I'm curious as to how it's being advertised. Airbnb is only as honest as the people are who use it,
Right.
This letter that I read too, they also said they're advertising on Yahoo.
I haven't heard of advertising on Yahoo, but, if you're on Airbnb, to me, immediately, you need a conditional use permit. That's what that's for.
Or commercial. Okay, I'm going to amend the motion that we put a moratorium on tourist lodging and boarding houses in R1, R2, and R3 for a period of 6 months. No new CUPs for a period of 6 months.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So what will happen is that we will write this up, and hopefully I can get it presented to the next city council meeting, asking them to approve this moratorium.
Would you folks come and speak? People coming sends a powerful thing.
Especially with our city council. If all of you would show up, and just like you did today, and they're very strict on their 3 minutes, so, but yes, it would make a lot of difference.
And we thank you guys so much for coming tonight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, thank you.
And good luck.
Thanks for your help. Yeah.
Also, on the tourist lodging is these are the proposed revisions in red that legal has done for our proposal to the B&B definition.
The only, I still have a problem with it where it says live on site when business is operating, and what they've taken that as is, I can live over here and I only have to be at the bed and breakfast when I have guests. They're not living there. And so
Which page are you on?
It's this one, Vicki.
That would-
You didn't get one?
We've got a whole stack. Oh. Oh, that one, the separate one. I'm looking at the pile. Okay, Melissa, back when this was being argued, wasn't it when it said occupy the premises at all times?
Yeah.
People said that caused a problem because that meant they couldn't even go to the store?
Right.
Isn't that why that got changed?
Well, that was what it was originally.
Right,
And
but
they
that
war
was the
danced.
excuse they used.
And they war danced up and down and blah, 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 and I thought, well, okay, if you guys want to keep this, then that's fine with me.
But that was what the argument was.
No, they were mad about, we came up with a different definition, and they were mad about it, and the original one said occupy the premises at all time.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So the excuse they use, well, if you have to be there all the time, you can't even go to the store.
Right.
Remember
Well,
that argument?
I
So-
think at some point, common sense has to come into this.
It used to be here.
Because the reality of what we're trying to do here, since we have some B&Bs that people no longer live there, and we have major parking issues, if you are mandated that this is your residence, then when that tourist comes to your home, then instead of them parking out on Spring Street, you can say, oh, you can unload here, but our parking is behind.
Yes.
But when no one's there to tell them where to park, they're not going to
Right.
park there.
Well, so the reason I brought that up was because we could go back to the way it originally was, which worked. People actually lived in the home.
Well, that's what we're trying to do, Mickey.
We can go back to what it was and delete the line when business is operating, and if we just make it shall reside on site all times,
Yeah.
that lets you go on vacation, it lets you go to the store, because you're still a resident there. That doesn't mean you have to be there 24/7, and that was the argument they gave us,
Right.
was, well, the way it's worded, that means we can't even go to the store.
Right.
I mean, that was
That's,
ridiculous.
Mickey, that's good, that, if we can, cross out live on site and put reside on site,
Yes,
and cross out when businesses operate.
yeah.
I was at one city council years ago, and this came up, and they had a discussion, what does reside mean? And there were 2 or 3 different definitions of what reside meant.
Okay.
And that's,
Well, let's find the word that means you're living there. That is
Reside is the proper legal term for,
Mickey, when you're not on there at the time when they talked about reside, there was
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
said, well, this meant one thing, and somebody said it meant something else, and
yeah. And that didn't
Shall
mean,
we
that
Google
doesn't mean I
Yeah.
approved of what they were
Right.
saying. I've got a good legal background, but that's the thing. If they reside there, and we don't even have to specify as their number 1 home, their number 2 home, you don't even have to do that.
Well,
As long as they reside there.
If we take out when the business is operating and just say shall live on site, shall means must. So that
Right.
means that you live on site.
Yeah,
And just take out when business is operating?
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
yep.
Everybody in agreement with that?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Kylie, did you hear that?
Got it.
Okay, so do I have a motion taking out when business is operating that we will move forward with this definition?
I'll make a motion that we present this to the city council with the line when businesses is open, to delete that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right.
Discussion of parking workshop.
Okay.
When would you like to do that?
I think we really need to get on this immediately. I would say next week sometime.
Okay, next week.
Ron, do you have are there any meetings on the schedule next week?
Take a look.
We could do it in 2 weeks, which would be our normal one.
No, we don't, we just meet once a month.
I know, but I mean,
Oh.
you know what I mean.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay. Why don't,
And I will not be available Thursday evening.
no, what I was thinking is maybe do it at like 4 o'clock before one of the other meetings, so you don't have to come in an
okay,
extra
yeah.
day?
Yeah, that would be preferable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to be here the 19th, the 20th, and the 21st?
Yes, there is a guy that might be taking the position, but it'll take a while for him to get it. So y'all be here those 3 days next week.
No Monday for me.
For me, Monday would work best because I have physical therapy,
Okay.
and I would like to be here, so
Okay.
Monday is an open day if we could.
And I cannot
Work
do
that in.
Monday, that's my only day.
I
But
could do
can't.
Monday or Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday.
Let's do Tuesday. I can do Tuesday.
I can do
I could do
Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 20th at 4 o'clock?
Yep.
Does that work for everybody?
Yes.
See what I can do.
Okay. Tuesday, July the 20th, we will, at 4 o'clock, we will hold a workshop on parking.
Good.
Okay. Have any unfinished business? Have any commissioner comments? I would like to comment that I think Fergie did an absolute excellent job last night at City Council.
He did.
I can't tell you that I understood every bit of it, but I was impressed.
Kind of didn't understand any of it, but I knew what it was going to bring us.
Thank you.
Well, since I wasn't available to watch, should I watch it now?
Yeah, you can watch
Yeah.
it on YouTube. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Melissa,
Well,
do you have
no,
any
they-
comments?
No.
Tom?
No comments.
Fergie?
The only thing I've got is, basically talking about the broadband. And one thing I wanted everyone to try out there in TV land is go to speedtest.arkansas.gov and test your broadband speed that you're getting and fill out the survey. That is a powerful tool that Stephen Porch, the executive broadband manager, is using to evaluate poor broadband areas. And
Okay.
so, yeah.
Repeat that again.
Sure. It's speedtest.arkansas.gov.
Is that Arkansas spelled all the way out?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Good deal.
All right.
Glad you
does
asked
any-
that because I just put ARK, so
Do you have anything, Jody, you want to say?
I have nothing to add.
Does anybody have anything right
Tom?
now that they would want to put on the agenda for next meeting? Should we put the R2 lodging again and kind of keep a
Yeah.
minute
I
going
think
on that?
that's a great
And
idea.
parking.
Then parking?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
With that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.